Well, I guess today is going to be the day we're going to put some color on all this stuff. That way I can move towards getting a rolling chassis put together and get some parts put on it. Get some of my garage space back so I don't have stuff like this cluttered all over the place. So I'll bring you back when that's done. All right, guys, we got it all one color now. It turned out really nice, realistically for what it is. I mean, it's kind of like trying to paint a jungle gym, and the whole reality of it is there was a lot of stuff to paint. The frame, the differential, which is over here. Let's show you how that turned out. The frame, the differential, and everything that was on this guy here was painted in the garage. Everything like the A-arms and the spindles and stuff like that, and everything that was on this rack, we just walked it outside, shot it, and brought it back in. I made this guy here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Set this guy here up at the back of this area here between my house and garage, and we were able to just hang stuff up and prime and surface, and then I sanded all of it, and then when we painted it, I set it back up again to do it the same way. And it worked pretty good. I mean, there was a lot of trips in and out of the garage to do that, but I didn't know of any other way to do it. It was really kind of too much to do in one day. So what we ended up doing is we based everything, and we were planning on clearing everything, but we had a storm roll in, and I had all the cars outside. That's why my old pickup kind of looks a little bit dirty. Normally that's not a problem. I mean, it's not a witch, it's not going to melt, but I had a lot of raw metal parts in the bed to go to this, so I decided to forego getting the clear on that day, and we did it the next night, or the next day. And this is what we got now. So as you can see, I've done a little bit of final assembly work on it. Put all the bulkhead fittings back in for the front brakes and plumbed some lines in. This is the grommet edging that I was talking about earlier. Installed that. That'll make it so the wires and hoses or whatever don't shape themselves against the nasty edge there. So I put a little bit of stuff on. I'm not going to put a whole bunch of stuff on until I get this off of this rotisserie, which will be happening here real soon. Like this kind of stuff here, I left loose. And I'm replacing as much painted stuff with stainless steel as I can. This is still loose because when the cab goes back on, this has to come back off. So the brake pedal isn't really tightened up yet. A lot of the stuff that fasteners that I can't buy in stainless steel, or I don't think the strength is enough in stainless steel, then I'll just touch them up after everything's back together. I'll put it on the car lift and get down there with some single stage. And I bought this color. This color is base coat, clear coat. It's 2-stage. I also bought this same color in a quart of single stage just for doing some of the bolts and any kind of a touch-up that may need to happen. I bought a gallon of this color, and by the time we're done painting the chassis, which is like equivalent to painting a jungle gym, because you have a lot of blow-by, and painting all that stuff over there on that rack, we had lost, maybe 1 3/4 of a quart. So I went back and bought a couple more quarts. And let me tell you what, this color is expensive. The 1 gallon, the original 1 gallon was $1,100. I didn't even buy clear. I'm using clear that I had left over from other projects. So then when I went back to buy the other 2 quarts to replace the stuff that we sailed through, of course they had, the PPG had a paint increase or price increase. So those 2 quarts, it's always cheaper to buy it in a gallon anyway. So I expected it to be a little bit more. But those 2 quarts of paint was $733. So, but what do you do at this point? What do you do? So I think what's going to happen now is I've got on my table, I got the front suspension, some of the front suspension pieces. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and put the A-arms and the shocks back on, and the spindles. And then I'm going to stop putting stuff on the frame and get it back on the ground, or at least on jack stands, protected jack stands, so I don't scratch it up. And then go ahead and swing the leaf springs and the rear differential back in and get that hung back in there. And before I put the motor back in, I'll go ahead and bleed all the brakes and make sure I don't have any line issues or anything like that, is what I'm thinking of doing. And everything I do is subject to change at any time. We painted this over 4th of July weekend is when this got done. So, and I've been trying to make a video for a while, but I've been having some issues with Julie's Blazer. I ended up putting a fuel pump in it because one, it had a check engine light. Okay, and the check engine light that was coming on was what you would typically have as a gas cap code come up, but it wasn't the gas cap. So I told her that when it comes time, we will put a new fuel pump in it, and then I'll look at the lines, make sure I didn't have a crack line or something was loose back up in there. And then a couple weeks before I put the fuel pump in it, the gas gauge stopped working. So I'm like, okay, this is the time to do it. Might as well do it now. So I put a new fuel pump in it, and I found out why she was having her gas or her check engine light come on, and that was because one of the vent hose was loose. So we got that all fixed, and then everything was fine. Then a couple weeks after that, it was getting real hard to start. Everything was fine if you just go into the store or something and come out and get in and start it back up. But she was going to work, and then she'd come out anything over 4 hours later, and it was either flooded or starving for fuel. So I put a fuel pressure gauge on it, and it wasn't starving for fuel. It was just really hard to start. So what I ended up doing was thinking that it was probably, it had that problem just a little bit before I put the fuel pump in it, but I thought maybe it was just the fuel pump causing it. Well, there was a lot of things going on. We replaced what they refer to as the spider. This is a poppet style spider, and you can tell maybe that it's been leaking, and you can tell by the plenum that I took off that it was leaking a lot inside there. So I think it was flooding it out over the course of the 4 hours or however many hours that it was not being used. And so long story short, what we ended up doing was upgrading it to the actual fuel injector style system. They make an upgrade for this, and man, does it start nice now. It really starts nice now. So anyway, been kind of messing with her stuff off and on for the last better part of 3 weeks, trying to get her happy. She was getting to a point where she didn't want to drive it anymore. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw up an update, let you guys know where I'm at. This is where I'm at. Doing a little bit of final assembly work, and I like final assembly work. You can actually see what you've gotten done. So anyway, guys, Thanks for watching. Bye.